In this video, I'm going to show you how to create this amazing column chart on which you can easily highlight specific month using slicer. Along with this, I will show you how to create dynamic chart title. Consider I have this data set. The first thing I will click anywhere on the table, click on insert and we will insert basic pivot table. Next, I will move month on a rows field and total sale amount on a values field. Now I will click on design tab and simply off the grand total. Now I will simply select my entire pivot table, Ctrl C and hit Ctrl V to duplicate this pivot table. Now I will click on pivot table analyze and we will insert slicer based on month and year and simply hit OK. The next thing I will click on yearly slicer, click on report connection and we need to connect both of the pivot table with the slicer. And now I will click on monthly slicer, click on report connection. In this case, already the first pivot table is disconnected while the second table is connected and this is what we want. The next thing I will modify this slicer a little bit more. I will simply go to slicer styles, right click duplicate, click on format. In this case, I don't want any border and simply select the none option, hit OK and simply hit OK. Now I will select my modify slicer for both of the slicer. The next thing I will click on my slicer setting and simply uncheck display header. Now we need to develop a helper table for our chart. I will simply call the first column, let's say months. Our second column will be total sale and our third column will be, let's say, selected months sale. Now I will apply a very easy formula. Simply type equal, click on A4, hit enter and drag this formula till December. Click on E4, simply type equal, click on B4, but this will automatically apply get pivot data function. In this case, I will click on C4 and simply change C to B manually and drag this formula down. The next thing we need to create Xlookup function on selected month sale. For example, if I click on my monthly slicer, you can see second pivot table is filtered out while the first pivot table show the same result. And if I click on my yearly slicer, you can see both pivot table value has been changed. So I will apply a very easy Xlookup function. Open parenthesis, what is the lookup value? In this case, I will specify all of the month's name, hit comma. For the lookup array, I will specify from row 19 to let's say row 32, hit comma. And for the return array, I will specify the second column, hit comma. If not found, in this case, I want to return blank, close parenthesis, hit enter. And now if I click on my monthly slicer, Xlookup match only the filter value. The next thing I will select 3 of the columns, click on insert recommended chart. In this case, I will insert basic column chart, hit OK. Now I will select my chart and 2 slicer, hit Ctrl X, insert a new worksheet, hit Ctrl V. I will do a little bit modification here. Now I will click on my monthly slicer and I will change the column 1 to let's say 12 column. And we need to adjust this column on a chart. Before that, I will click any of the column, right click, format data series. In this case, the gap width, let's say I want 10%. And for the series overlap, I want 100%. Now I will delete the legend and also the month's name on the x-axis. I will click on format and simply select plot area. In this case, I will decrease the plot area so that I have space for my slicer. Of course, we need to increase the overall area so that my chart look better. Now you can see my slicer is behind the chart. I will click on my slicer setting and simply select bring to front. And now we need to adjust the slicer a little bit more. After a little bit work, I have perfectly aligned my slicer with the columns. Now we need to reduce the width of the yearly slicer and we need to increase the height. The next thing, I will click on my vertical x-axis, right click format x-axis. In this case, I will click on number and I simply assign currency with 0 decimal point. For the dynamic chart title, I will click on sheet 5. On the lower section, I will simply write total sale amount. And now I will do a little bit formatting. And now we need to apply a very easy sum function, open parentheses. And I will select selected month sale column, hit OK. Now I will simply change the format and color. The next thing, in this sheet, I want to have the grid line, and now simply copy everything. Of course, you can do any calculation you want. You can do calculation on a multiple rows as well. Now I will simply hit Ctrl C, click on my sheet 6, right click, paste special. In this case, I will select paste as a link image. Now I will click on my chart title and simply hit delete key, and I will move my link picture on a chart area. Now the only thing remaining, we need to draw a proper border around the chart. So for this, I will click on my view tab and off the grid line first. Click on my chart, click on format. For the shape outline, I will simply select no outline. Now I will click on insert and we need to insert a round rectangle. Simply draw the rectangle over the chart. For the shape fill, I will select no fill. For the shape outline, I will select, let's say, 3-point outline. After a little bit working, you can see we create our professional chart. Now click any of the shape, hit Ctrl A to select all of the shape, click on picture format and simply group everything. Now you can move freely this chart to any sheet you want. I hope you liked the video. If you have any specific question, just write me comment.